Hi there, and welcome back to How Do You Do That on Kinemaster. In today's episode, we are going to do a walkthrough of Kinemaster as it's seen on the desktop. Now today I am using my Acer Chromebook R11, and I have been using Kinemaster on this device for about a year now. I really like how much bigger everything is, how much easier it is to use a mouse as opposed to my finger, and also it's probably much better for my posture as my head is not down in my phone. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here we are at the opening screen. We've got our Kinemaster logo here, and underneath it are FAQs, frequently asked questions. Often you might have a question as to how something works or what to do. So the FAQ section is pretty good for that. It describes everything from the features to subscription and payment, what happens if something crashes. And just as a disclaimer, I've been using Kinemaster for over a year and I've never once had it crash. So that's a pretty good sign. How to export and share, compatibility and capability. Sometimes your device isn't going to be able to support all of the things that Kinemaster can do. And licensing and copyright. So that's your frequently asked questions section. The next section is what's new. I love this section. This section describes all kinds of new features that Kinemaster has recently come out with, and the push pins indicate that they're very new. Some of these go back quite a ways. And the last part is settings. In settings, it has everything from your own information about the capability of your own device, editing, sorting, file locations, and even advanced and experimental settings. Okay, so next on the Kinemaster screen, we've got our Create New button. Obviously, this is where we are going to create a new project. We're going to come back to this button after we get through everything else on the screen. This button is called Get Projects, and when you click on it, it opens up a bunch of different projects that are already completed. It is broken down into different categories. We've got retro, minimal, music video, intro, on-beat, vlog, and comedy. Now, these are projects that are already made by Kinemaster, but they are ones that you can take and change a few of the things to make them your own. Obviously, as pretty as this young lady is, you probably don't want her in your video, so you would change those photos to something that you did want. So let's just take a look at one. Okay, so in that video, you could change the words maybe to say what you wanted it to say. All right, so it's really cool. All different kinds, like I said, and in the very first category, it shows all of the different projects that have already been made. And this is going to swirl a little bit because there's a lot more coming. All right, so let's go on to the next button. Right, down here we have this section called My Projects. These are all of the projects that you have made or are currently working on, and you can delete any of these projects at any time. Now, if I open it up to the See All, you can see that I have actually worked on a lot of projects, and I could probably clean this out at any time if I wanted to. It is important to note that all of the projects that you make in Kinemaster are automatically saved. There is no save button because every change that you make is automatically saved. Below that, we have the Asset Store. This is another one of my favorites. If you click on this, it is going to open up everything you could possibly need in Kinemaster. It's also got a great section called New, and it shows all of the new assets. But I digress. Let's go over to the left-hand side and we can see everything. So we've got the Home button. We've got our New button. This shows all of the new features. We've got Effects. And all of these are broken down into several categories of different effects you can use. These are artistic effects. We've got blur effects, color effects, distortion effects, and obviously it goes on and on and on. We've also got our transitions, which again is broken down into several categories. We've got stickers, which are really more like overlays. They call them stickers in Kinemaster, but again, broken down into categories. Music, so much music to choose from. And all of this music is copyright free. So you can go ahead and use these in YouTube videos and never have to worry about a copyright. These are all sound effects and clip graphics. Again, everything is broken down into categories, and that makes it pretty easy to find. They also have these videos that you can use. Most of them use green screen or blue screen, and those are so much fun to play around with. Also, these are different images. I call them background images, and you can use them in all different kinds of ways. And last but not least is text. So many different fonts. It's unbelievable how much you can use in Kinemaster. Now, the last thing I'm going to cover in this section is right up here in this corner here, and this is my folder. So if I click on that, these are all of the assets that I have downloaded. So if I click on this bow tie looking one, these are all of my transitions that I have downloaded and used. And at any time, if I've got too many and it's starting to get a bit cluttered and hard to find things, I can always remove them. And that is the same for all of my text, my stickers, my music, sound effects, clip graphics, background photos, and videos. All right. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about next was this button here for Premium User. Now, I already am a Premium user, so I have access to all of the assets in the Asset Store, as well as the Kinemaster watermark is removed from all of my projects. There are a lot of really great things you can do without being a Premium user, and it's also a really good way to explore the app to decide whether or not you want to become a Premium user. Okay, so down here, there are different ways you can follow Kinemaster on different social media sites. We have YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. These are really cool if you're interested in social media and meeting and following other people who are interested in the Kinemaster app. There are also really great ideas that you can get from other creators, and I highly recommend it. I'm really enjoying following them on Facebook and YouTube, and Instagram and TikTok, I'm sure, in my future as well. Down just a little bit lower, and this is actually the last thing we're going to look at on this screen, there are recommended apps that Kinemaster supports. BeatSync is amazing. I actually do have this app, and I use it quite a bit. You can make some really fun music videos with it. SpeedRamp, honestly, I haven't tried it. It's just not something that is anything I would really use. It's about making your videos easy to speed up and slow down. Video Stabilizer, I know I'm not alone in saying that I was very disappointed with this particular app. I saw absolutely no difference in my video using it than not using it, and I found it very clunky and hard to use. So hopefully they're going to improve on that Video Stabilizer, because I would use it quite a bit if it worked well. Okay, so that's it for the home page. I know it was a lot, and I'm so glad if you're still here, because now we're going to get to the fun stuff. Let's create a new project. So we're going to click on this big orange button up here, and that's going to open up a few choices for our project. We get to choose the aspect ratio, the photo display mode, the photo duration, or we can choose to import a project that we've already started and we've saved somewhere else on our device. The photo duration, you can determine how long your photo is going to be on the screen. I'm going to just pick 2 seconds. You can also choose whether you want the photo to display in fit mode, which means you would see the entire photo, but possibly some black bars on the sides. You could have it fill the screen completely. You would not get those black bars, but you might lose some of your photo. Or you could choose the random, which is kind of like a Ken Burns effect. It kind of does like a slow pan over the photo. So that's kind of a neat little thing too. Your aspect ratio is going to be determined on the platform that you are going to display your video. I'm going to choose 16:9 because that is the classic size for YouTube. However, if you were going to choose Instagram or Facebook, you might be more interested in one of these ones here. And Kinemaster makes this really easy because they put the icon of the platform right on the aspect ratio button. So that makes it really easy. I'm going to come up here and click Next. And on the desktop, it opens right up to the media browser. This is all the media that I have on my computer. I believe on the mobile version, it goes right to what I like to call the editing page. So I'm just going to skip right through this by clicking the checkbox. And that's going to take us to what, like I said, I call the editing page. This is where everything happens. You have your toggle right over here, and there's only one option. Actually, there are two options lit, and that is the media button and the camera button. And the reason these are the only two lit is because you don't have any media in your project yet. You've got to add something before you can change anything. So we're going to go ahead and click on our media button. And that's going to take us right back to the media browser. And we're just going to pick a couple of images just so we can play. So I'm going to go to my favorites folder and just grab a couple of different images that I can play with. So I'm just going to choose this one of the lake. And you see it pops up right down there. I'm going to choose this short video of a little boat in the water. And I think I'll just choose just a plain image here. I'm going to go up and click my check button, and already you see I have my movie. So you see I'm holding down the right button on my mouse, and I'm able to move this back and forth. Because I have a touch screen, I can also do that with my finger. And if you were doing this on a mobile device, you would be able to use your finger to manipulate that back and forth. Now, as you see, our toggle, all of the buttons are lit. We have lots of options now. So we are going to go through each of those options one by one. Okay, so now we're just going to take a closer look at our toggle button. The first button I want to talk about is this red button right here. This is really kind of a neglected button. A lot of people don't talk about it, but you actually do have a camera right in Kinemaster. And I have used this feature when doing vlogs sometimes. All of your recordings go directly right into Kinemaster. They are also saved to the device that you use. So all you need to do is click this button, and you can use it for a camera or a camcorder. Okay, the next button we're going to talk about, we've already been in this section before, but is the media button. Now, all of the media that you have on your device is going to show up here. I do have a lot of mine in folders because this is my laptop. So you might not have all of these folders on your phone, but you will have images split up and from the videos, and you can choose any of these types of images that you would like from the Kinemaster Asset Store. They do come with just a handful, I believe, in the free version. I think like these ones down here towards the bottom are all in the free version, and all of the others are available in the Kinemaster Asset Store. You also have your videos, which again are available in the Kinemaster Asset Store. You have your favorites, and it's very easy to find your favorites. There is a video for that, which I will leave a link for you. And you also have cloud storage. So maybe you have a maybe you have a Google Drive where you keep a lot of your footage. So you can also access that as well. These, again, are all of the folders that I have on a thumb drive plugged into my computer. Now, over here at the top, I do just want to show you this button here is going to just reverse the order of which your folders are in. So right here, you can see this folder is labeled Kinemaster. If I click on that, now the Kinemaster one is way down at the bottom. It just reverses the order. If I click this button here, it's going to separate everything for me. Right now, I have it all together. I have photos and videos, but if I clicked on just this, it's going to put up just the photos. And if I do this, it's going to be just video footage. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right back. As always, it's easy to find the Kinemaster Asset Store. It's usually right up here in the corner. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the audio button. The audio browser is broken up into different categories. You've got your music, your sound effects, recorded sounds, songs, albums, artists, genres, and a folder. So most of these I don't use. I don't use a lot of stuff that I recorded myself, but maybe you're a musician and you do. That's fine. Also, you have different songs and albums here that could be from your personal playlist. Again, I don't use these a lot because I use all of my videos to YouTube and I want to avoid copyright infringements. So I use all of the music that is in the Kinemaster asset store. They have hundreds of titles, all different types of genres, and all of them are available in the Kinemaster asset store. The same can be said for sound effects, and I actually noticed that the sound effects library is getting bigger all the time. They're constantly adding to the asset store, and I do use sound effects quite a bit. Okay, so let's see how to add music. I'm going to go ahead and scroll through until I find the tune that I want. And I'm going to go ahead and pick Happy Moments. So I'm going to click the plus sign. And that is going to add a layer to my video. So you see here, down here, this like green line, this is the actual music. I always find the music to be very loud in Kinemaster when it first comes on. So I'm just going to go right up here and change the volume. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Whenever you have a layer highlighted like this, it's going to open up all of the different options for that particular layer. So I used the volume. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, so I like that a lot. You might notice, though, that the green line continues on and on and on long after the video is actually over. So what we can do is highlight that to bring up the clip option, which is these scissors. I'm going to click on that, and we can either trim it to the left, which would cut off all of this, or we can trim it to the right, which would cut off all of this. Obviously, we're going to trim to the right. And there, it ends at the same time that the movie does. We can also put in sound effects. We can put in sound effects the exact same way. Maybe we'd like the sound of birds singing in the background. Simply click on this, click on that again, and hit the plus sign. Let's go ahead and play it. Now we can clip this to make it the exact same length of our video, but we're going to want to make sure that our video is already at the end with our red line here. So click that and trim to the right. Perfect. One last thing I want to show you is sound, is you can take the sound out of video as well. Maybe you don't want to hear the boat go by, so you would highlight that clip, come up to the volume, and turn the volume off. Now we won't hear the boat as it goes by. Perfect. All right, let's move on to the next section. The next section is the voice recorder. We can do voiceovers to any of our projects simply by clicking on the microphone button. And as soon as we hit the start button, our voice is going to be recorded. You can see the lights going up and down with the inflection of my voice. So I'm just going to click start. Welcome to the park. Once I click stop, my voice recording ends. Let's take a listen. Welcome to the park. Perfect. All right. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, so the next button that we have on our toggle is the layers button. There's so much in this button, I'm not going to get too in depth with all of it. I'm just going to kind of introduce each topic. And I have other videos where you can explore each of these things a little bit more in depth. So here we have media. You can choose any video or photograph or anything like that that you might want to add on top of another picture that you've already got on your screen. So if I chose this one, you can see that I have all kinds of options to manipulate it, and it's a video that's on top of, my other screen. So I could pop it up there in the corner if I wanted to, maybe turn down the volume and have that playing up there in the corner. That's kind of fun. Okay, so that is media layers. The next layer I wanted to look at is effects. There are all these different kinds of effects that you can put right on top of your images or your videos, and it's going to change the appearance of them. Just for an example, I'll put this sketchy one on here, and you can see that this particular effect makes it look like it's a drawing. Makes it look like someone sketched it on there. So that's just one of the many, many effects that is available on Kinemaster. Okay, next we have stickers. Thousands of stickers are available on the Kinemaster app. I'll just pick one and you can see how it looks. Now, many of the stickers are animated. This is one of them that is animated. Others are just still and they just kind of sit there in the corner. And once you choose one, you can certainly, once again, have all of the typical options of how to have it animated in and animated out. And if you have a steady animation that you want it to have, you can cut the clips, you can make them more opaque, you can rotate them, all kinds of things that you might want to do. So lots and lots of options for all of these layers. Let's see, the next layer is text. This is probably the one I use the most. You can just go ahead and type anything you want on there, and that is going to show up on your screen. You can certainly make it bigger or smaller, rotate it with your arrows, and of course, all of these other options are available for you to play with and check out. I usually like to put a little outline on it, kind of makes things pop a little bit. But all different kinds of options. And once again, to open up your options, all you need to do is highlight your text box, and all of these are going to open up. Also, when you have it, you can change the duration of the length just by grabbing a hold of the yellow and moving it along. Okay, great. Okay, the last layer that I'm going to talk about is the one on the bottom here, and this is handwriting. Now, handwriting can be just that. You can certainly use the paintbrush or the pencil and use it just to write on your screen. But it also has other options. You can make yourself an X. You can make yourself a square. You can make yourself a circle. You can make yourself all kinds of different shapes. And they're always nice and tidy. You can also change the color. You can erase things. You can change how wide your lines are. You can have a very fine line, or you can have a very wide line. So those are just some of the many options you have for this particular layer called handwriting. And I'm going to go ahead and erase that one. So that about does it for layers. Again, there are so many different options and things to play with in this section that I could be here for weeks describing all of them to you. It's really just something you need to play with to figure out. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about in the video is the back button. This button returns you back to the home screen, just like that. Or if you have been adding some media and you change your mind or you're done with it, you can also click the back button to go back to your editing screen. The next buttons I want to talk about are the two down below that. This is the undo and this is the redo. So any changes you make, say you delete a clip and you want to undo that, you simply click the undo button and it puts it right back to the way it was. You can also redo it and back and forth to make any changes or correct any changes that you've made in the past. This next button is called the Capture and Save button, and there are 3 different options for capturing and saving. Now you've got a little video clip here. So maybe once you get it into a certain position, you want to take a photograph of it and save it for later. You can simply click on the Capture and Save button, capture and save, and it takes basically a screenshot of whatever's on your screen, and it saves it to your device, and it also saves it into your media. See, it's right up here in this file. Another option for capture and save is to add it as a clip. So I could capture and save it, and it's going to add it as a clip right into my project. Once it's there, I can certainly move it to wherever I want. The last option for capture and save is to add it as a layer. Once it's a layer, you can move it around and manipulate it however you want. You could even move it over to a different clip to enhance that clip later, or maybe use it as an end screen, however you want to do it. You could even change it to maybe black and white. All different options. Okay, so that is capture and save. I use that one quite a bit actually. Underneath that, we have the settings button. These are all the settings that you had at the beginning of your project, but you can go ahead and change them at any time. You have your audio settings, your video settings, and your photo settings. Below that, we have got this button, which changes how your editing screen appears. So if I click on that, it's going to put my timeline up here, it's going to put my video screen down here, and my play button is over here on the left. That way, if I have a lot of layers here, I can see them all lined up very easily. If I click the play button, I see the video is down here now in the corner. To leave this screen, you're simply going to click that button once again. All right, one more, and it's down here at the very bottom. This one can change where you are in your project. Now, this is a very short timeline. It's only 22 seconds long, so it's pretty easy to move my way around. However, if your timeline were a lot longer, you might need help getting around. So this button here is going to help you with that. If you click on it and hold it, it gives you different options. You can move to the previous point. You can move to the beginning, or you can move to the end. So that is a very, very helpful feature. All right, now that we have covered most of the different settings on Kinemaster, we can go up to the export button. To export your project into your photos or somewhere on a disk drive, wherever you're going to save it, you can go ahead and click the export button. This is going to save everything and take it out of Kinemaster. You click your export button, and then you get to choose your resolution and frame rate. I generally keep mine all the same every time, and that is the 1080p and 30 frames per second. The most important thing with this is you want to make sure that your import rate is the same as your export rate. That way you can avoid any syncing issues later on. I usually keep my bit rate just under 8, and then you just go ahead and export it. Now, this is a pretty small project, so exporting it should not take too long. But while it's exporting, I do want to explain that you do not want to leave this page while it is exporting. You don't want to close the Kinemaster app, and you don't want to close down your computer or anything like that. You want to make sure that the screen is still active so that it can continue to do its work. So once it's exported, you can see it over here on the right side of the screen. You can always choose to play it. That would open up on my computer different options. If you wanted to play it on your phone, it would just play right through your photos. You can choose to share it. I have mine set up to share to Instagram, my files, Canva, TikTok. Usually if you have your YouTube set up, that would pop up here as well, but because I have 2 channels, I don't have that set up. I don't want to accidentally send one to the wrong channel. So I usually save things to my files. The other option you have is just to simply throw it away. You can always click that, and Kinemaster will double check to make sure you truly do want to delete this file. All right, now that we have completed that, I'm going to show you a final project of all of the things that you could do with what we've learned today. See if you can find all of the features that we learned about today. Welcome to the park. Welcome to the park. Wow, you have stuck it out to the very end. Congratulations. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. And if there's anything else I can help you with, please be sure to leave me a comment below.